Hey, this is Isaac Kotek, and I'm going to be showing off stem mixing for your live sets in Ableton Live. This way I can take my songs, separate them in their parts, and I can play them as I go. I like to think of this as live composition, where I can play an intro part, skip to the second part, go to the top, back, forth, whatever I want, and really kind of feel in the moment and feel into what the crowd is wanting. If they want certain sections to repeat or whatever, it's all very fluid and easy to do when you set this up right in Ableton Live. So I got a great question from my buddy, Callie Scintilla. He was wondering how I did this. He wanted to check it out. So I'm going to walk you through the steps, and then I have other videos, if you want to follow that link in the description, for how you can actually take a project and break it into stems. Once you have those stems, I'm then going to show you how you can chop those up in Ableton Live to make it really easy to use in Session View. So let's check it out. Okay, so here we are in Live, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this track Miss Dancer from my last album. I'm going to drag it over here, and if I hold Control, little pro tip here, it's going to put them all down one after another, stacked in their own track. If I didn't press Control or Command, it's going to do it one after the other in the same track, which would be really annoying. So when you drag them in, hold Control or Command when you let go, and it's going to put them all in a row. Sweet. So I've got it in here, and this is an arrangement view, but I'm really going to want it sitting in here, where I can just press play and stop on all those different parts. Well, the easiest thing to do would be to grab an area like that. I just select it, and then I can right-click, Consolidate Time to New Scene. What's that going to do is it's going to take that entire range, chop up each one of those sounds, and throw it into Session View, which is awesome. Here it is. It's ready to go. It's looped, super simple, and all I have to do is come through here, and then I can select new ranges. Like I can see visually that that drum part is different. So then I can right click, Consolidate Time to New Scene. It's going to then chop that all up and throw that in here. Now, that was an improvement in Live 9, and it freaking saved me tons of time. Because before you would have to come in here, chop each one, Control E like this, and then do some things and drag it over. It took forever. So now you can just go ahead and go through the whole track like this, Consolidate Time to New Scene, and so on. Nice. So I'm going to just do one more as an example where we've got this section, and it looks like we're going to go till there, and I say Consolidate Time to New Scene. Sweet. So once you do that and you throw them over into arrangement view, there's a few things I like to do to get it prepared. Now let's hear. Like for instance, that one right here is, it's like a really quick fill. It's like a little break here. If I were playing this live, I definitely would not want that to repeat. I'd want it to go to the next section, right? So if I hit that one, hit shift and hit the last one in this row, I can actually come over to my launch, this little L here, and into my follow actions. So I'm going to set this to 2, follow action next. Now, oh, it's actually only 1. So let's change that to 1, follow action next. So you see in 1 bar it moves down. Me personally, I like to also recolor that. And I also like to color my tracks, whatever key the entire track is. So I'm pretty sure this is a D minor, so I'm just going to select these, make it this purple color. I have an article, I'll probably put a link in the description, about my color wheel in the Circle of Fifths with Ableton. It makes me helps me know just visually if it's purple of a certain shade, then it's, oh, that's D minor. If it is C major, it is red, and so on. And it makes harmonic mixing really easy. But I like changing the color to orange for things that automatically move, just so I can kind of visualize it. So there's a few other things I would do to make this song complete. One of them is I would kind of go through and see wherever there was silence. So this one's silent, so I would Control R and just put a blank space there. Let's blank space that one. Blank space that. Cool, and that way I can recolor these. I usually recolor them gray so they kind of blend into live. And that way, whenever I'm doing some type of mixing, I know exactly which ones don't have a real sound to them. It can be really helpful when you bring in a new section, because then you can just kind of start and stop it and see like, oh, there's no sound here. So I'm just going to not bring in those guys and have that and bring in the next section of the next song, right? Just as an example. Oh, looks like I can't do that. And then the last thing I would do to prepare this track is I would probably rename, usually up at the very top. I call this Mist Dancer. The BPM, so this is 95. I don't put 95 BPM because if I do that, it puts this little play button that if I click there, it'll jump the BPM. So let's try that. It's at 77. If I click here, look, it jumped to 95. I don't always want that to happen. Sometimes I want to smoothly mix. So I just say 95, and then underscore, or actually let's do this, of D minor. I'll recolor that. I'll add any notes in here like quick break. I just Control or Command R there, and let's say main section 1. I'll recolor these. Right click to recolor. Let's go with that purple. And so on. And I would actually go down the entire track to get that to look and be the way I want it for my live set. Sweet, so let me just show you what this might look like in my live set. So I have all these different songs here, right? And you'll notice that these are all separated, they're layered. I've got these parts grayed out that don't play. And then I can just go through here and play the different sections, skip whole parts, and whatever, right? So this one is at 152, so that's going to be quite a leap. So let me go with something that's a little bit easier. So yeah, we got this drum spider at 85 and this Nia's remix. So if I press play on this, bring down the BPM. Now if I click there, remember, if I double click, we have a follow action here. So in 4 bars, it's automatically going to move to the next section. Right, so right here. Now for my live composition part, let's say I want to bring in the beats of another song. Let's bring in this drum and this kick. Bring in this percussion. Right, so we still have those sections playing in the last song, but we're slowly introducing the next song. And then whenever I want, I'm going to just start the next song. Right, pretty smooth transition. And let's see, we got that one. Yeah, let's bring in this slipstream song. So I'm just going to delete all these. And it can be really easy in transitions where if I press play here, it's white. I know that's the end. And let's bring in the drums. Nice, and play the whole thing. Now it's super smooth in between those because I was introducing one part or different parts as the other parts were coming out. So sweet, there you go. That is the basics of how I take those stems, throw them into live, and chop them up into different sections. Makes it a lot easier to have them in there, and then you can move between your compositions. This is also just one piece of a tapestry of information that I've learned to put together the unique live set that I do. I haven't gone over like effect racks that I use, how I manage my files, and I can drag and drop them in so I don't have to have all the songs laid out in one set, as well as a bunch of other advanced tricks. If you're interested in that, check out the link in the description where this article for this video is found. I have an email list that you can sign on to get the massive collection of videos I've been working on, this curriculum I've been writing for years on how to make live sets. Not only my own live set tips and tricks, but also the huge range of it, from DJing, moving into this kind of STEM live performance mixing, moving into adding live instrumentals, looping, full backing for your band, you name it. So that's why this has taken me so long. I've had to test this and try this out and basically build tons of different bands' live sets so I can present this information to you in the most succinct way. So if you're interested in that, check it out, link in the description. And yeah, more information coming at you. Stoked to share this. Subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more. And until then, party on.